Hey guys, before we get started, we just want to say thank you to Zhiyun for sending us the Smooth Q3 for review. As usual, we're not paid to say anything besides our own opinions, and Zhiyun does not get to see this video before it is published. Let's get straight to the point. The smartphone gimbal market is now very mature and crowded, with many companies trying to come up with the best gimbal for mobile devices. But there are a couple of features that makes the Smooth Q3 stands out. We'll talk about those things first before we talk about all the basic gimbal features. First, and probably the most important, the Smooth Q3 is in fact very smooth. I've used a lot of smartphone and camera gimbals for my videography work, and I have to say, I know it might sound a little subjective, but the gimbal motion of the Smooth Q3 is smooth like butter. I can't even tell that the motors are working to stabilize the device. You might not notice it, but your brain can actually tell that the pan, tilt, and rotation motions are very well dampened on the Smooth Q3. Let's say when you are panning and the gimbal follows, it will start slowing down smoothly when it gets closer to the ending point, and that is something that will make your footage so different from having a hard stop. The second cool thing is how smart the motors are. Besides knowing where to go to follow the motion, it actually knows how to avoid the arm of the gimbal from being in the frame by rotating your phone 180 degrees. I have never seen this on other smartphone gimbals before, and it is indeed very smart. With other gimbals, when you are reaching the maximum angle before the gimbal arm being in the frame, it will just force the phone to move away from the arm, and it is often very difficult to fiddle with the gimbal to get the angle you want, but with the Smooth Q3 it is much easier. Let's say if you want to film at a very low angle, which is usually called the underslung mode. With other gimbals, you simply just can't do it with the handle at the top because the arm of the gimbal will be in the frame. The Smooth Q3 will rotate the smartphone at 180 degrees, so now the camera is free to record at a very low angle that is almost touching the ground. This smart feature also allows you to pretty much hold the gimbal in whatever way that you are comfortable with. This is awesome because a new smartphone gimbal user might not be that experienced, and it makes the learning experience much easier. The third smart feature is very minimal but yet very useful. This feature requires you to download the ZY Cami app, which I have no idea why they made a separate app from the original ZY Play app. Anyways, you will have to activate the gimbal when you first open up the app. The process will take about a couple of minutes. After your smartphone is connected to the Smooth Q3, you will see a hand icon for gesture controls. When you have it turned on, you will be able to start recording when the camera detects an open palm or a V gesture. But that's not the end of the story. Face tracking will also be activated when the recording starts, and that is very handy. This is especially useful for people who are filming themselves without another person's help. Let's say you are streaming a tutorial video and you know you will be moving around. Having the ability to start recording and face tracking with gesture is very helpful. The reason why I say this feature is better on the Smooth Q3 is because other smartphone gimbals, yes, they can do gesture recording and face tracking too, but they do them separately. You have to first turn on face tracking, then use the gesture to start recording. But with the Smooth Q3, you can be standing very far away and start both functions with one gesture, and that is awesome. Sometimes it is the small details that make a big difference. Another very cool feature that I like is the manual control over the camera settings. Yes, most people will be using auto exposure for their videos, but if you want to get a little deeper into making your videos look different from others, you have the options to set your shutter speed and ISO to properly expose your videos, and it is very simple to do so in the ZY Cami app. The ZY Cami app has a couple of smart features that might be useful to others, but maybe not myself. Let's say the beauty mode. They also have a live stream mode where you can live stream within the app. Although I don't have any idea what kind of live streaming platform they allow you to connect to, but the feature is there. They also have a smart mode that allows you to film with different templates to create some cool videos. It basically tells you to film a couple of clips and they will be stitched together into one video with background music. I'm not going to play the music in this mode because of copyright, but I think this is a very fun mode to try out with friends and family. The only thing is that the so-called tutorial videos don't really teach you how to capture the specific clip. It is just showing you the end result. So if Zhiyun can update the tutorial videos, that would be awesome. The last but not least feature that the Smooth Q3 has but a lot of other smartphone gimbals don't is the little fill light on the gimbal. You can turn it on and off by tapping and holding on top of the fill light. You can also choose one of the 3 brightness levels by tapping it once. This little fill light helps you to film in the dark, and I have to say that it is not bad because the color of the light is nice and warm for your skin tone instead of the weird green cool color of smartphone flashlights. You can also flip the light to the front, which is pretty cool as well. Let's talk about the build quality of the Smooth Q3. It is completely made of plastic and it does feel kind of light compared to other gimbals. I don't think you will be able to break it easily, but it is definitely not the toughest gimbal on the market. All the buttons are kind of mushy and I wish they are more tactile and clicky so I know that I have pressed a button. The handle is also a little on the shorter side, so if you have a heavier phone like my iPhone 11 Pro Max, it will feel a little top heavy when you are using the gimbal. By the way, I didn't talk about the size and weight of smartphone that the Smooth Q3 can handle because most of the gimbals can handle most of the smartphones nowadays, so I'm not too worried about that. I also wish they can improve the way to lock the gimbal when you are trying to put it away. You can basically lock just one motor and the other ones are still flopping around. So I don't really get the design, but I hope that they can fix that in the future. We received the basic kit of the Smooth Q3 and inside the box, you get the gimbal, a USB-C charging cable, and a tripod. This is pretty basic, but I have no complaints at all because a lot of times I don't really use all the accessories included anyway. Okay, this part of the video will be a quick demo to go through the basic features of the gimbal and the app. If you think you are okay without watching this part, you can jump to different parts of this video by using the timestamps in the description. Okay, let's take a look at the basic features of the Zhiyun Smooth Q3 smartphone gimbal. Before you get started, all you need to do is to mount your phone onto the gimbal, and to be honest with you, the gimbals nowadays, you don't really have to worry about balancing it at all almost, because the gimbal, it's powerful enough to balance pretty much all the smartphones, and you just need to have the phone kind of in the middle of the mount and it will be fine. So after mounting the phone onto the gimbal, all you need to do is to press and hold the button on top of the trigger at the back. And that's the power button. Once the gimbal starts flashing, it should just balance the gimbal in portrait mode. And the basic function of the gimbal does not require the ZY Cami app, so you can still use the joystick to pan and tilt and double click the trigger at the back to center it and triple click the trigger to put it into landscape mode or portrait mode. And of course, if you want to use the record button or the zoom in, zoom out trigger, you will need to go into the ZY Cami app, and other face tracking smart features require the ZY Cami app. All you need to do is to download the app and register or sign up with your email address, and then you will be able to connect to your gimbal via Bluetooth. Make sure Bluetooth is on. I have my gimbal connected, so it should be working right away. Yep, so this is the camera app. Basically, the camera app of the ZY Cami app, and it is now connected to the Smooth Q3 gimbal. On the app itself, you have some features that are quite unique. So on the left side, you have this camera symbol with an A there. You just need to tap onto it and you have the ability to go to a menu mode to set your shutter speed and ISO to properly expose your image or to have the proper motion blur. So that's something that I like having, but I'll just keep it at auto mode for now. And below that, you have the ability to change the frame rate and the resolution of your video, 720p, 1080p, and 4K. And you have 24 frames, 25 frames, 30 frames, and 60 frames per second. I'll choose 24 for now. It doesn't really matter. And this icon here below the resolution, you have the beauty mode, of course. And this is something that I don't use. So you can do something like slimming your face and enlarging your eyes. But I don't do that anyway. So here we have this option here to go into the settings of the gimbal. But the funny thing is, I don't know why one option is in Chinese. Maybe they missed that. This option is saying basically the microphone, using the phone or the microphone of the phone or an external microphone. So just in case if you have a question about this part, this is for microphone. Flashlight, you can turn it on and off here, I guess. But yeah. Oh, it's a flashlight of the phone, not the gimbal. Since we're talking about the flashlight of the gimbal, this is the flashlight. I can tap and hold and it will turn on. And if I tap again, it will just get brighter and brighter. 3 different levels. If I want to turn it off, I just tap and hold. And you have some other options here. I'm not going to go through everything. And you have the option to adjust the motors of the gimbal here in the app. And you have one option to calibrate the gimbal, which is something that I would suggest you to do when you first have this device mounted onto your gimbal, just to make sure that the gimbal knows exactly what kind of weight they are handling and to have a smoother experience with the overall stabilization. And under general, you have the information of the device, so nothing really special there. And of course, on the right hand side, you have some modes with video, photo, and I'll talk about the smart mode later, but that one I can't really show you guys with the background music running. One thing I really want to show you guys is this hand gesture right here. This is the gesture mode. So once you have it turned on, you have the ability to put a palm in front of the camera or a V in front of the camera, and the device will start tracking your face. And this is really cool because the tracking will start with the recording. This is really handy when you are far away from the camera or your devices and you want to record yourself without some other person to help you out. And some other gimbals, they have this function, but they do it separately, which is kind of cumbersome. But this one, you can do it within the entire function, just one gesture. So let me try to flip the camera to the front first. There's an easier way than tapping onto the screen, because whenever a phone is on the gimbal, I kind of hate to tap onto the device itself. What you need to do is to triple click the record button and it will flip to the front facing camera. And now you're looking at the camera that I'm recording this whole thing with. I'm just going to rotate it so it's facing me. And since I have the gesture turned on, the gesture function turned on, I can now put on my palm and it will do a countdown, and you can see that the gimbal is already tracking my face. And it's pretty accurate and fast, to be honest with you. You can go up, down in any way. So this is good for recording yourself while you have no one else to record for you. But one thing I kind of don't understand, a lot of gimbals have this kind of gesture feature to start recording, but there's no way that I can pause it. No matter what I do, it doesn't do anything. It's just not going to stop the recording. I'm going to stop the recording right now by pressing this record button, and it will be saved to the camera roll. So I can double click it to center it again. And of course, this mode work with portrait mode. So if you want to stream, let's say on TikTok or any other platforms that I don't live stream on, or I don't do live stream at all, but you can do this same thing with portrait mode. Yeah, so this is how the gesture mode work, and I think this is a really great selling point of this gimbal because they put two features into one gesture. Okay, if I want to flip it back to the back camera, I just need to triple click this button, and it is now back to the rear facing camera. Of course, you have the ability to zoom in and out using these triggers, and this will only work with the back camera. So let's say if I want to zoom in, zoom out. These are all digital zoom, and there is a mode that will basically help you to do something called dolly zoom. So what you need to do is to go into that mode. I think it's at the very top. Not at the very top, but somewhere at the top. And once you confirm that, you will have the ability to start pulling the gimbal away from the object of the subject, and it will zoom in while you pull out, and it will zoom out while you pull in, or push in, I should say. And the tracking will make sure that the subject stays the same size, but the background will start doing this funny effect of like zooming in and out without having the object zooming in and out, getting bigger and smaller. And I tried it and it's pretty smooth. To be honest with you, I was surprised. The smart tracking works really well in this mode, but I'm not going to do it here. So the next thing I want to show you guys is, of course, the live streaming mode right here. This one allows you to live stream within the ZY Cami app. I don't know what these are, but I've never seen these platforms, but this feature is there. So maybe they will expand the platforms later in the future with software update. I don't know yet, but this is what happens right now. It's these three platforms are available. I'm going to mute this part of the video when I am showing you guys that smart feature, because there is music playing in the background. I don't want to be having like copyright strike, or actually I can probably just turn down the, whoops, that's not the volume button. Turn down the volume. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it works. So in the smart tab, you have the ability to basically film with different templates. It will just ask you, let's say if I want this cute template, there's a lot of different ones. But anyway, so if I tap on apply, it will ask you to record a clip that is 2.7 seconds for the first clip, and then the second one is 3.3 seconds, and then you film 4 different clips and they will be stitched together to create one video with the same background music. And I think this is a fun mode, but I won't be using it myself. And there's a video tutorial. It says it's a video tutorial, but it's basically just showing you the end result. I don't know why. So it's not even really showing anything at all because it's only 2.7 seconds. So this is a fun mode to try out, but I will not use it personally. And this is the ZY Cami app. There are a couple of gestures that you might want to learn. And as I said before, you double click the trigger to put the gimbal back into center, triple click to put it in portrait mode. If you click it once while you are within the app, okay, now we're in a lock mode. So I just need to go back to pan follow to show you guys. So while you are in this app right here, and you have your camera pointing at something, let's see if I can get something to point at. Okay, I don't know if this is going to show that well. Oh, interesting. I think the camera just stopped working. Okay, so now I have something in front of the camera. If I press the trigger once, it will start tracking whatever that is in the center. And I think this is pretty handy, so you don't have to draw a box with another hand or with your other hand to draw a box to track something. You just need to press that button once, and you press it again just to cancel the tracking. So if you want to track something, you can do it with one hand because you have a record button here, which is pretty handy. You just click the trigger once and it will just start tracking. And you just need to press record and it will just start recording. This is pretty cool. But once you are in tracking mode, you will be flipped to what they call a locked mode. So it will not, whoops, I should cancel the tracking first. It will not move at all, even if you are outside of that tracking mode already. Because the original mode should be point or pan follow, not point follow, pan follow, which is the mode before this. In order to switch to different modes, all you need to do is to click this mode button once to go to the next mode and double click to go back to the previous one. So if I want to go back to pan follow, I just need to double click and it will go back to pan follow. So there's pan follow, lock, follow, and point of view. These are the basic modes of most of the gimbals nowadays on the market. So what I'm going to do right now is to show you guys what's included. Basically, to turn off the gimbal, you just need to press and hold the button on top of the trigger, and the gimbal is now off. So what I'm going to do right now is to show you guys something that it's kind of bugging me. like right now, you can't really lock all the axes. So you can lock this one. This is the tilt axis. You can just lock it by rotating it and it will be locked. But this rotating axis, I can't lock it at all. There's nothing that I can really lock it with. And to really put the gimbal away, you can release this knob right here. Just rotate it, unlock it, and push the entire arm down and then lock it this way. But the thing is, you are locking this handle or this arm right here, but this pan axis is not locked. It's still rotating. Like this and this is still like flopping around. So I don't know what happened. So maybe they can figure out something to really lock these two before you put it away. So that's something that I'm not like a really understanding. And the handle, as you can see, this handle right here, it's kind of short. So if you are not using this tripod that it's included, if you unscrew it, the gimbal will be kind of top heavy. If you have it out here, it will be kind of top heavy even without the phone. So if you have a heavy phone like my iPhone 11 Pro Max, it will be top heavy for sure. So you kind of need this tripod. So this tripod is included. It's a plastic tripod, really standard. So no complaint at all there. The whole thing is light, so it's not going to be a problem if you want to carry it around. Inside the box, there is, of course, instructions, service card, and a USB-C cable. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else inside the box. This is the basic kit. And yeah, so that's how the gimbal works with all these basic features. And I think it's a good thing. It's simple, easy to understand, and easy to remember. And it comes with some really fun mode that you can try it out. That's it. Those are my thoughts on the Zhiyun Smooth Q3 smartphone gimbal. As I said in the beginning of this video, there's a lot of smartphone gimbals on the market right now, and the Smooth Q3 is one of the simpler gimbals that is easy to use with all the smart features that makes it stand out from the crowd. Sometimes keeping things simple is actually better. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.